You know that feeling, right? You get to the end of a long workday, you're completely drained, and you catch yourself thinking, man, if I could just escape to some quiet mountain retreat, I'd finally find some inner peace. Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're actually going to completely flip that assumption on its head. We're going to explore how that noisy, busy, and honestly, sometimes totally chaotic office you're sitting in right now isn't an obstacle to your peace of mind. Believe it or not, it's actually the ultimate laboratory for practicing mindfulness and expanding your consciousness.
It is so easy for us to buy into the myth of the quiet mountain retreat. You know, this idea that finding peace requires physically escaping our daily grind. But as the mystic Joel Goldsmith teaches, freedom isn't really about your zip code. It's a condition of the soul. That divine presence, that deep peace, it's not hiding out on some remote, snowy peak. It's actually found right smack in the middle of our chaotic external world, right in the busy office reality. The idea is that when we turn to our inner self, we can find perfect harmony on the outside, regardless of how many unread emails are piling up in our inbox.
So here is our roadmap for mastering this state right at your desk today. First, the office laboratory. Second, the 60-second witness pause. Third, somatic posture check-ins. Fourth, single tasking integration. Fifth, the invisible Goodwill break. And finally, number 6, moving beyond the ego.
Before we jump into the exercises, it's absolutely crucial we understand what the witness state actually means. Very simply, it's the act of silently observing your surroundings and your inner mind without any judgment, evaluation, or reaction. As the teacher Osho explains, being the witness literally just means getting out of your own way. You aren't trying to change anything, you aren't fixing anything, and you aren't labeling a situation as good or bad. You're just letting your mind and body completely reset by purely observing. Let's dive right into our first practice, the 60-second witness pause.
Now, this practice is incredibly accessible, and you should try doing it several times a day. First, just stop whatever you're doing for exactly 1 minute, literally 1 minute. Second, silently observe your surroundings. Just look and listen. And third, suspend all judgment and reaction. If the fluorescent light above your desk is buzzing, don't label it as annoying. If you have a big meeting coming up, don't label it stressful. Just sit back and observe your inner mind and the room around you without trying to intervene at all.
To help make this click, try this brilliant mental reframe. Start treating the sounds of typing, ringing phones, or, your coworker loudly crunching on almonds simply as traffic passing through your screen. By framing these everyday office annoyances as totally neutral passing events, kind of like cars driving by outside a window, they completely lose their power to trigger your stress response. Going back to the teachings of Osho, he explains that the very moment you observe without labeling things, like when you stop calling a specific email good or bad, your ego naturally steps aside. And the exact moment the ego steps aside, your true self, the witness, awakens. You suddenly realize that you can be totally inactive and centered on the inside, even while the entire periphery of your life is just spinning with chaotic office activity.
Moving on to practice number 2, somatic posture check-ins.
If we're being honest, most of us spend our entire workday on absolute autopilot. We're living entirely up in our heads, totally disconnected from our physical senses. So here's what you do. Throughout the day, take just a few seconds to scan your physical posture. But, and this is absolutely key, step 2 is that you do not attempt to correct or judge yourself. Do not sit there and scold yourself for slouching. Just make a very quiet, detached mental note of how you are holding your body.
You can actually anchor yourself with some very specific physical sensations here. Notice your hands resting on the keyboard. Feel your feet placed flat on the floor. Just acknowledge the sheer physical sensation of sitting, or typing, or standing. Eckhart Tolle emphasizes that bringing your awareness into this inner life of the body creates space. It acts like a literal anchor that prevents your mind from getting completely swept away by external drama, stressful thoughts, or just the collective paranoia of the office.
Practice number 3, single tasking integration.
Drawing from Eckhart Tolle's writings on the ego, we learn that when we give a document or a spreadsheet or an email our absolute undivided attention, something kind of magical happens. The friction of the ego completely disappears. Because think about it, the ego wants to be anywhere but the present moment, right? It wants to rush to the next task or obsess over a mistake you made yesterday. But when you become entirely one with the now of the task you're executing, your work isn't a chore you're just surviving anymore. It literally transforms into a deep spiritual alignment.
And this absolutely applies to our interactions too. I mean, how often does a coworker walk up to your desk and you mentally groan because you're being interrupted? Next time, try this. When someone speaks to you, temporarily close your laptop screen or turn away from your monitor. Look at that person not as an obstacle to your productivity, but as a field of awareness. Merge completely with the now of that specific interaction. It's amazing how much the quality of your attention changes the whole dynamic.
Which brings us to our fourth practice, the 10-second invisible goodwill break.
Here is exactly how you do this one. Once every hour or so, just look at a couple of coworkers passing by your desk. They don't even have to be looking at you. And in your mind, secretly think, I wish for this person to be happy. That is literally it. It's a totally invisible practice to the outside world. It takes all of 10 seconds, but it is incredibly powerful. It almost instantly snaps your brain right out of its defensive, competitive, and stressful conditioning. It grounds you right back into present moment peace and actually generates a silent gratitude for the life happening all around you.
Section 6. Beyond the ego. Transforming the workplace. So what happens when we apply all of this? Well, when you start aggregating these 4 small practices, the pause, the posture check-in, the single tasking, and the invisible goodwill break, over the course of an 8-hour workday, you completely change your reality. You truly move beyond the ego.
Eckhart Tolle beautifully observes the result of this kind of presence. He writes, "A softening of the ego occurs in everyone they come into contact with." Think about that for a second. When you achieve this unforced unification with your work, your calm actually becomes contagious. It creates a ripple effect. People with strong, defensive egos naturally just relax, lower their guard, and stop playing those aggressive workplace roles when they interact with someone who is deeply present. You literally become an active force for peace in your own office. Which leaves us with this final, really vital question to ask yourself as you look at your inbox today. Will you just survive your work today, or will you awaken through it? The laboratory is open, the equipment is ready, and the conditions are absolutely perfect right where you're sitting. I highly encourage you to try just one of these techniques today and witness the shift for yourself. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.